So let's start for today. Hello to everyone. It's great to have you for the next session, for the next 5 animal session. And today we also start basically a new chapter of this online class. Yeah, we go to the next level basically after we did now really for a long time here in this online class basics, then also a bit intermediate movement basics, but also still just movement basics what we did so far. We go now really with the focus onto the topic of Shen. Yeah, I think there are already classes. We went also into Shen and Shofar, what to do with the hands and stuff like that. But in this next level of practice, this next period, I think we will go in another level, yeah, into this Shen work than most of us did so far. Yeah, I think many of you did the Shen already, or even practice it also now regularly. But the way I will show it now to you will still be new and bring new aspects, I think, to our training, because so far I always brought you more the summary of it. Yeah. And now we really will take the time to dive deep into this set of training, which gives also more beginner people the chance to follow us, yeah, and to join. But also for the advanced people, it's a very good deepening and working with this Shen work. Yeah, Shen, for the people that maybe don't know it, means body expression. Yeah, so it's about how to move, first of all, how to move the body in every of these animals, but then also how through these movements, like how to create qualities of movement, how to create, how to express yourself through this movement even more. Yeah, and this will be the topic of this next period. I also wrote it down on the online class. I don't know if you saw it under the link for the online class. There are a few key points. I will just read them for you now. You can also later check them again. The first point I wrote is spine mobilization and mastery. Yeah, this is a big topic of the Shen that we learn to move our body in different dimensions. You use the spine in 5 different colors, I always say, and mobilize the spine first of all. But with this mobilization, we also start to open what we call the small cosmic circle. Yeah, so we also not just staying in a physical mobilization work, but it becomes also deeper with the time and is then opening our energy points around the spine, basically. And is therefore a very good work for Qigong in general also. The next, what I wrote, next point is foot and spine connection. This is also very important for this Shen as I teach it, because it looks how the foot is also involved into the body motion. Yeah, how the grabbing and the spiraling of the foot is part of the whole body movement, and is also nourishing our spine motion in the end, sending spirals up into our spine. And this is also quite advanced, but very interesting to work with. And for this point, I also linked you another lesson from the previous time into this area, into the online class area, where you can learn the foot spiral program. And this will be very important for this class, that you notice that you also eventually practice this regularly a bit for yourself. Because if you're not used to this work of how to use the foot and the spiraling of the foot, it can sometimes become a bit tricky in this class to really understand what to do. Yeah, so if today you don't have it, it's no problem, but then take your time, repeat this program, practice it a bit for you, and then it will help you a lot the next lessons to follow and catch up, and join also with the foot more aware into this training. Yeah, because I will not take now the time extra again to do this, because I taught it now many times, and it's also not enough to now just teach it another time. You need to learn it and then to do it a bit to really be able to make use of it. Yeah, it's not a one-time thing. So the next point I wrote is the leg spiral and qualities. There we simply look also in every animal more specific how the feet move again, the legs move exactly, yeah, and because the legs basically are the in-between piece between the hip or the spine and the feet. And so it will be also very interesting to look and emphasize, fill with awareness exactly how our legs move. Yeah. And in some animals, we talk more about spirals. In other animals, we can look more from other, like call them other qualities we use in the legs. So also this will be interesting to work with. And then the last 2 points, one is the Shen arm connections. So also how then the body motion will transfer and benefit to our arm motion will be part of our training, and the Shen quality creation, the next point, which is about, okay, now we learn a lot about how to move the legs, the feet, the spine, how to bring this into the arms, and then also we can ask the question of how to use this to create the qualities of the animals. So we're not always moving the same, but we have 5 different colors later on through our body motions and awareness. And from there, we will also go into more free flow work and stuff like that. But this will not at the beginning phase of our training be the main topic. Yeah. So the last thing maybe now, our class now will be quite basic from the movement, quite slow. Yeah. Because it is an advanced class, I will take really time for every exercise. And it can mean that we for sometimes maybe for 20 minutes do one movement. Yeah. So be also ready for this. I will try to take really for everything time. So it's not just a running through this work that we do, but it's really like also a deepening and discovery work. So yeah, looking forward for the next period, as you can see. And this is why we also directly get now started with our work. Like always, we start with the turtle. We start with standing Qigong, taking a moment to arrive into our structure. Start today in Hunyan Zhuang. A very good way to arrive into our training, into our body. A very good moment to open and warm the joints for the next hour. But also very important puzzle piece for our Shen work, because the right positioning of our body and that we release into our body is the first layer, the first basic before everything can start. The Shen work will not be efficient or bring you a lot if it's connected with too much tension, or you're still in a very wrong positioning of your spine. So take your time as always, position your feet into its round arch as learned in the foot spiral program. Expand slightly the knees, see the movement, opening also the hip joints. Release the lower back and allow this upwards expanding movement from the feet, from the floor into the back. Allowing it by rounding, releasing the lower back, and giving this movement on to the belly area of the spine, chest area of the spine. So the whole core body is rounding, arching softly. Also, we can feel how the movement is traveling from the round chest, the round back into our shoulders, filling the elbows, filling the back of our hands, especially also the wrists, so that you can feel from the floor how the roundness is created, traveling through the spine into the arms. And from there on is also passing on into the neck by pulling the back of the head backwards and the crown of the head up. We're going into the very basic structure principles. Looking first of all at our rear side a bit more in an uprising way, emphasizing yang of our body. The ability to structure the body against gravity. Against gravity, but in order to release with it together down afterwards. So this against is not coming from tension, but from the bone structure, the positioning, so that we can start now to release the front part of our body, which will increase the rounding of our body and make us feel gravity floating into the floor through the body. So release the face, your eyes, the muscles around the eyes, the jaw muscles, front of the neck, front of your chest, especially the chest bone, into the solar plexus area, releasing from there into the belly, releasing from there into the hip joints, especially the front area of the hip joints, the core, allowing gravity to travel inside the legs and in the front of our legs onto the knees, from the soft knees into the lower part of our leg, the shin bone and the muscles around, until the weight is finally arriving to the foot and the Yongchen point again. Take a moment, enjoy this roundness, while at the same time releasing more with every exhale. Watch the breath. And establish the 3 constant flows. Constant breath in and out in a very released way, exhaling, not stopping, holding the breath or anything like that. With that, you also don't hold thoughts or anything. You see the thoughts, but you always let them pass. You allow them constantly to travel on. So it's like the thoughts are like clouds that just travel through you. And the third one is the body. By releasing the body more, also here we create a constant inner flow, a softness that allows movement. And release the arms to the side. Stay in the body posture. Really stay for a moment, a couple of breath circles now in this. Still be aware of how you hold your body from the physical side, but also from the inner side. Without losing your structure and especially spine and leg position. Start very softly, very small to rotate your spine from side to side. Not at all going to the full range of your rotation, but seeing like, okay, very minimalistic going from one side to the other. Rotation, first of all, means the chest versus the pelvis. Yeah, so the pelvis stays completely unmoved while the chest is rotating very softly from side to side. So as soon as you have a weight shift or the hip joints moving, there's something not correct. Yeah, like in the basic turtle. So you try to be very soft to your body. In a very soft way, you rotate your spine. You can see it clear the movement, but at the same time, it's so small that it's not even really challenging your pelvis. Because if you rotate more, it can sometimes challenge the pelvis and want to pull your pelvis also into the rotation. But here at this point, we are not even arriving to this challenge. You're looking at the roundness of the spine and it's very soft motions. A movement that is starting in the lower back. And we see how it's traveling up vertebra by vertebra into the neck. So our neck can turn a bit more in than the chest. So there is also rotation from chest to head. Yeah, so you can, if you see the rotation of your spine, of course, there are many, many vertebrae in your spine. But you can also say there are three big joints or three big parts your spine is creating rotation towards. The pelvis versus the chest and the head versus the chest. So we want to see how our chest is changing the angle towards the pelvis and how the head is changing the rotation angle or degree towards the head. And this will create this motion that we're looking for. And we want it to happen gradually. First more the chest versus the lower back, then more the head versus the chest. Don't do both at the same time, but from the feeling, you need to feel like it's really vertebra by vertebra rotating. And this is only possible if you relax and round in your spine. And if you give yourself time to observe and look more and more close into the different parts of your spine. Because in the beginning, maybe you just see pelvis versus chest, chest versus head. But then you will suddenly discover more and more detailed your vertebrae of the lower back, the vertebrae of the chest, and the vertebrae of the neck. The breath stays constantly soft in and out. The movement of the breath starting in the belly, but then also allows the rest of the chest, the rest of the lungs to be filled and to move. So that this breathing motion is also another layer of your inner movement, another tool you use to release the spine, to feel the movement of the spine. Then you can slowly start to widen a bit the range of the rotation. Get bigger in your rotation, and now maybe I need also to use a bit my pelvis to lock it to the front, to not rotate it, to not rotate into my hip joints as I do now. Yeah, this we don't want. My pelvis, my belly always look perfectly to the front. Even so, I try to rotate now a bit more. But don't go to the end point of the rotation yet. Go to a point where you feel a bit of stretch and then you release from the stretch. So just the point where the stretch starts and then you release it first in the lower back and then in the chest and head. So also this rotation in and out always starts. I rotate in from the back to the head, and then my back starts rotating to the middle and my head follows in a slight delay. The movement of the spine always starts down and is then traveling gradually vertebra by vertebra to the next, into the higher levels. And I can see how the stretching is basically create the movement to the other side. I stretch, but still not maximum, but just as much as I can feel it. And then vroom, release the stretch and let it turn your body and pull your body to the other side. You can say from the one side, from the rotation to the middle of your position, to the middle, yeah, when your body is neutral, is like a passive motion of the spine because I stretch and then I release the stretch and let the structure of my muscles pull myself back to the middle. And then from the middle to the other side again, it's a more active work of the spine where you really use the muscles around the spine to twist and go into the stretching position. Also make this very clear, yeah, that you have one passive part of your motion, releasing into the stretch, letting it create movement, and then creating movement in order to charge the body. Yeah, for our Bagua friends, this is a very basic Bagua principle also in the end here. And I think I mentioned in the past also already that the turtle with its spirals is not very far from Bagua also. Take care that in every position, your lower back, your chest, everything stays round and heavy, yeah? Bit like if you're resting to the front all the time a bit. Don't be too upright with your spine, yeah? Release your spine a bit to the front, like as if you're leaning on something with your chest. And then you rotate from here. And this roundness, this arching, you keep the whole time. Doesn't matter if you are on the side or if you're releasing back to the middle. So to summarize the main points to take care now here in this exercise one more time. Take care that the movement starts from the lower areas and travels gradually up while you screw in and also while you screw out and back again. Second job is use your spine actively to go into the rotation, to charge the bodies very softly, and then passively release into this and let your muscles pull you back to the neutral position until your muscles actively again rotate you. And the last part, no matter where you are in this exercise, do it from a soft inner approach. This means not to try too much, but to access to your own muscles and own body with softness. And then you feel, for example, pain in your spine, not to force yourself into this pain and try to aggressively stretch and open it, the blocked area maybe, but in a very soft way to move around your blockages. And follow the approach and the idea of opening something with the movement, with creating movement around it. If you're going too much into the pain now here, you will close the muscles more because the first reaction on pain is tension. But if you stay soft around the pain, maybe a bit you feel, but only as much as you can still release into it, the movement and the flow that you create in your spine now will, with the time, have more effect. Like water can also cut through a stone or make a stone round. Now you start to incorporate the foot. Like when you turn to the side, let's say I turn to the right side now, my right leg is very relaxed and soft. In the moment I start to rotate and release to the other side, at the middle point, I start to activate the right foot, create this arch movement of the foot, and through that a spiral into my leg that helps me to rotate my spine into the other direction, while at the same time stabilizing my knee. Because when I rotate, it can very easily pull my knee in, and with that also my hip joint. And through this grabbing of the foot, the spiral of the rear foot, basically, we stabilize and create a spiral from my rear leg to the other shoulder. And this is twisting my body. Yeah, so, and from here I release again. On the middle point, I activate the other leg. So when I twist now to the right, my left leg is activating. Activating means I push my ankle out, the inner part of the foot to the floor and the heel forward, creating a round foot position. And at the same time, this is also creating a spiral. It's the feeling I'm sucking the energy of the floor into my leg up. We create a slight outward rotation throughout the whole leg. And this movement of the leg and the foot is nourishing my spine into the rotation motion. And then I release, and do the other side again. Yeah, and the spiral work of the foot, as I said in the beginning, I mean, you can try it now if you didn't learn it, just like I explained it, but it's something you need to work on, to practice, to really get a feeling for it. And if you never learned it, you need to check this episode that I linked in the online class page. Because this we will do the whole Shenfa work. If you don't really understand this, you will half of the work not be able to follow correctly. And the regular practice of this program is important also, that you're able to activate the foot while not over tensing your muscle, while at the same time actually do it in this soft way. The same softness you rotate to the side, the same softness you use your foot to arch and create a spiral in your leg. Now again, to summarize, if I'm in the middle, I activate my right foot. The spiral of my foot is traveling up into my lower back, is traveling to the chest and making my left shoulder rotate back and the right shoulder rotating forward or to the side. Then I release the foot, I release the back, I release the chest, I release the head. And I do the same on the other side. Activate the left foot, see how the movement travels to the lower back, to the chest, to the head. And then I release again the foot, the lower back, the chest, the head. So I'm playing, it's almost like my foot is playing ping pong from side to side, pushing my spine to one direction and then playing the other foot in order to push the spine back to the other direction. So the gradual work we did before with the lower back, the chest, the head has now another layer, another part of gradually moving. Foot, knee, hip joint, lower back, chest, head. Moving here means really more like an inner motion, the feeling of expanding that you create through the foot movement, feeling of spiral. It's not really visible. Maybe slightly the knee is turning out and the ankle you see. Maybe barefoot, you can also see a bit the roundness of the foot happening, but it's not a big motion that you create. And while the movement starts from the foot, still don't push yourself up so you come high or something like that, or the spine gets less round and heavy. But actually, you start from the foot and the spine feels even more heavy and round. Because only if the spine feels more heavy and round, it can also receive the movement of the foot that you create. If you activate the foot and through that your pelvis comes up, it means you block the movement in your hip joints. Yeah, so you activate the foot and release the hip joint, the lower back, so the spine can receive the motion.
Steve, I've got one question.
Yeah, please.
Is it okay that my pelvis or my waist is or my hip is turning now a little bit, because I have the feeling if I keep it totally unmoved, I block this spiral from down to the spine.
I want to say yes, but I'm afraid it's not good. But no, do it for now. I will look what you do, and if it's really too much, I will say, yeah.
You hardly see it. You hardly see it, but
Yeah,
I feel
okay.
that
If I cannot see it with the camera, it's okay. Yeah. But Thilo and Sebastian, here I see movement in the pelvis happening. Careful, yeah. Separate the pelvis more from the hip, from the spine.
If you want, you can have a look.
Yeah, because now this is also so important, because now in this Shen work, it's really, we need a high level degree of, or to build with the time, a high level degree of spine awareness and spine coordination, first of all, yeah. So be there, everyone, be there in a soft way, self-critic. Don't get tense now from too much trying too hard, but look for the next level of spine movement ability. Yeah, Rainer is okay. So because this next level of spine movement ability, as I call it, it plays a key role in what when it's going into the direction of creating inner flow and creating, like, opening the small cosmic circle on this pass in this way. If your movements and your ability to access to your spine stays too rough, you will not support there much your inner movement flow. Yeah. I always try to avoid chi, but basically your chi flow. For us, chi we always translate as flow, as movement, because it's not for us the energy, but it's the movement of energy. This movement needs openness, needs the ability for the body to open. If your movement is too rough, you have many chances to block this inner movement. This is why I say if you're not 100% able to move your spine here, just the spine, not the pelvis. I mean, as Rainer asked, a very tiny bit is okay if you feel it's beneficial for your movement now. But if it's coming from the inability, then it's still way too rough. This is also why we take now this time for this exercise, that you can take this time to become more soft. Yeah, that you can observe, look into your body, let go of the more rough layers of movement. Okay, very nice. Release. I'm a bit surprised how late it is already. Because we just in the first layer of the spine movement of the turtle. Yeah, there's another layer that is about bending the spine. This we will do the next class, because now I want to bring the movement into step work. Yeah, so we do the basic step work of the turtle. Always rotating in very softly, activating the rear foot to hold the knee. Yeah, so our knee is not collapsing to the inside, but this activation from the foot secures our knee and at the same time creates the spiral. And then from here you roll to the front leg. Release first of all. And with the lifting of the rear leg, you activate your standing foot again. Yeah, and this is now the same as in the standing exercise. We are in an active phase now when we twist it in, actively going into the twist. Then we transition into a passive phase. So we release the body, we roll to the front foot is very soft. And now our chest is neutral as soon as the foot is down. And from there, the rear foot starts to spiral, which is the starting of the active phase. Yeah, the expanding spiral phase of our Shen work. Yeah, so you always need to see this active and passive, this yin and yang phases. Yeah, when we twist in, actively activate the foot, actively go into the spine, into the twist of your body, and then you use the twist, the charge to release until you shift the weight forward. Your chest is in the middle, and the rear foot start to spiral in, spiral out. Yeah, and this spiral in, spiral out. Here, we initiate also with the slow activation of the standing leg again. Active and then release, come to the middle, passive, and then active again. Start to rotate in. Yeah, and remember the very basic turtle work. When we roll the foot down, the rear foot is twisting in and twisting out. So our rear foot is also doing a whole spiral motion. Yeah, don't pull the leg just like this forward. Also very basic turtle knowledge, keep the pelvis heavy. Don't come up and down, stay always on the same level. Stay always round. Yeah, all these things. Will be good to have already of the animals, these basic movements, in order to fully or make the most out of the movement here with the Shen work. So also here you can, if you feel a bit unsafe with the basic movements of the animals, take half an hour before every Monday session and repeat the basic movements of the animal that we will do next time. Yeah, so this will be a very good preparation for people that feel not so safe with the key points, and of course also for people that feel safe. Always good preparation. And we have all the material in the database. There are tons of turtle sessions. Yeah, so now really your focus is on release, roll the weight forward, passive. And then active, activate the standing leg, activate the stepping leg, activate the spine. And also here it's a gradual motion. It starts from the floor and travels up into the pelvis, lower back, chest, head. And also the releasing. Release the foot. First the standing leg, then the rolling leg. Both legs release. Then with this release, and your lower back can release, your chest, your head can release. So we have this gradual rotation back into the center. And from there we activate again also in this chain motion from down to up. And it should be, for a trained eye, it should be visible also. The timing difference of your spiral, that it's not one rotation of the whole body, but you can clearly see the practitioner has the ability to time the chest in a different timing as the head. Or even more precise than the legs, different timing from the lower back and so on. And while there's a lot of things that I say now that I point out, still try to stay soft, don't stress yourself. Do every rotation in, especially also where you actively work, do it from a soft approach. Don't go into pain too much. Don't tense the muscles around the joints, around the spine. Do it slow, so you have the time to recognize also when you use somewhere too much, maybe too much tension. Make your breath a help to stay also soft. When the breath is soft, constantly streaming in and out and has this releasing quality, also the body is more likely to stay in this softness. Okay, and just for the end of this class, just simply add the arms. Do the same work of the rest of the body that you did already. We will not put now a specific new attention into the arms here. Just make them part of your gradual rotation motion, your passive rotation, your active rotation. This is just now for digesting, for going for a moment into the whole turtle. It's also a bit up to you now if you maybe also want just very simply do some basic turtle exchanges without too much attention on everything. Can be also a good way to end your training now. Or you use the time to keep observing this work that we did today. Both can have value. Then come to standing, release the arms to the side. Just listen into your body, especially into the spine. Let go of the arms again. Add the weight of your arms onto the structure of your spine. And then take some time to close 3 times. Okay, this was 1 hour of rotating your spine from side to side. Now you know what this class will be about. So, and even I was expecting that we take time, but even I'm surprised how less we managed to do of the turtle so far. So we will have probably some more classes with the turtle coming up. And this was really just the first layer we looked today into. Next time we will repeat there a bit again, but then also add the next layer of it, the next axis of spine movement we want to have in the turtle. And then there are also all the topics I said before still ahead of us, like, okay, qualities, how this is creating qualities, how this is then translated into the arms. And so there's more to come with the turtle, and with the next animals, it will become even a bit more complex. Therefore, one small notice, I think it's no problem if you miss one class. Generally, it's no problem, but I think it can be good to here also look before into the class a bit, because yeah, they build, I think, even more strong on each other than maybe in the past they did. Because next time I will just repeat this a bit, but if you would have missed today's class, then you would miss all these detailed informations about the rotation, yeah, and what it brings into our body and how it is interacting with the turtle. And yeah, this will be with every animal even more complex and increasing this kind of. So this is why I say it can be useful to repeat if you in case you miss a class. Don't have to always repeat the whole session, but at least look in, see a bit, make yourself an overview. Okay, and then the joining of your class will be more fruitful, at least. Okay, nice. If you have questions, as always, interrupt me in the closing process.
I would like to pose a question about Taiji, if that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The white seahorse spits fog, which we have in the 36 as well as in the Wufagong, and technically in the Vichen, I think, as well, but I think that's different.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know, when I open the hands, what part of the arms is leading the motion? Is it more the wrist? Is it the fingers, the elbow? Because when I open the hand, I have a tendency to kind of use my lower arm as the mental focus, basically, and then the hands do something like this, basically, so that they're kind of following the arm, and I'm not sure whether that's right.
Yeah, it's a chain motion also. Yeah, it's shoulder, elbow, wrist. This is first of all, so everything is leading for a moment. At first it's the shoulder, then my elbow will lead, and then the wrists lead. And in the end position, it's only important that you really have a nice and clear hooking. So there's a clear angle between the wrist and the hand. So don't do too much like this, but keep the fingertips more forward, because you want, basically you want with this arm to hook another arm and guide it out. This is a bit the idea of this motion. Yeah, and if your fingertips open more like this, that the fingertips still point forward, you can less good hook here. So you want this, the fingertips open a bit to the outside. And this is also directly pulling and emphasizing your elbow a bit more down. Yeah, and this is why I would say, if you would ask me what is leading or is the most prominent in the leading, I would say the elbow, because you really see them falling and being heavy here. Yeah, and this is created through the clear hook that I create with my hands, that the elbows have to go down.
Then the arms moves first, and then the hand follows into that position. That's kind of the
exactly
part, I think.
Yeah, so the elbow drops first, and then my arms zip hook and do this motion even more. Yeah, it can be very helpful to have a partner and to feel for a moment, okay, like this I can hold the arms, control them. Yeah, you're basically inside, your partner has the arms on the outside, and to feel how I can guide like this to or control the arms of my partner.
I was looking at the instructor clip from the Michelin seminar that you did with Ismet, and I mean, it's a little bit of a different version of it, but I tried to follow it there, and I realized that it's different.
Okay. Yeah.
Where you go outside, then it's basically more the snake.
Yeah. And in Michelin, we have then a bit other application. There's also with the weight shifting a bit different. You stay more in the front. It's a bit more direct and spirally.
I noticed I have to be careful, because you said about learning to copy by observation, but I need to be sure what I'm copying. So when I mix up the forms, I suddenly copy a different movement.
From the 64, I wouldn't copy for the 36 actually, even though it's almost the same forms. they can be performed very different. Yeah. Thank you.